What is up, guys? Rick Kakis here, and today we are going to be going over some new Destiny news. Now, all of this information is coming from the just released Bungie weekly update, so it's all official information. We got to look at a couple of interesting things. Mainly, we got clarification about what is coming to Destiny in 2017. Actually, some pretty interesting announcements. So let's get started with today's news. Firstly, we have a very interesting quote about Crimson Days. Quote, "First things first, Crimson Days will not be making a return this year. We enjoyed adding some gunfire to your date night, but we have other plans. Instead, we're dedicating our efforts to delivering different things for you to play." Really interesting there. So definitively saying Crimson Days will not be coming. I guess it makes sense, the timeline that they're announcing this now. February is right next, right around the corner, and people are going to be expecting Crimson Days, but it's not coming. This puts a lot of pressure on whatever content is going to be coming. Remember, last week, Deej and Bungie officially said, look, the live team, and they reiterate that again this week. They say the live team is absolutely going to be bringing new content in 2017. However, in 2015, we did have Crimson Days, which, frankly, I think was very, very bad. Like, it just wasn't very good. I made a video calling it a joke because it just didn't have any substantial content, no new weapons, no new armor, nothing like that. It was gone and no one cared when it left, pretty much. It was a little bit of a fun game type, but in any event, that's kind of beside the point. The point I am making is that they are confirmed to be bringing new content to Destiny. In fact, Deej does say we will talk in the springtime about this new content. It was also announced in this quote that the way they're going to be officially revealing this springtime content offering is going to be via a stream, which is what Bungie has been doing as of late. It's kind of what they did with the Rise of Iron. So don't be expecting an official trailer, but rather be expecting the announcement for the official stream. So, another April update or something along those lines around that time is essentially being pseudo-announced. However, again, in 2015, they had Crimson Days and they had the April update, which brought a ton of new content to Destiny. So the fact that they're canceling Crimson Days is again putting a lot of pressure on Bungie for whatever the next April update, the 2017 spring update, is going to bring. I hope they can remake a raid. I would love a remade Vault of Glass and or Crota's End. And with that announcement, again, we do get a much clearer picture about what is happening with Destiny in 2017. And unfortunately, the calendar is a lot more barren than I'm sure a lot of you expected. So after the dawning, we have absolutely nothing in terms of content offerings, in terms of live update. At least that's what's been announced so far until a spring update. So if you really wanted content in Destiny, you're going to have to wait. Again, as I said earlier, this puts a lot of pressure on whatever the spring update is going to offer. Moving on from there, Bungie did also comment on the current Crucible meta. It seems like people like myself, I made the video criticizing Bungie for 130 days where the meta has stayed exactly the same. There has been no Sandbox updates. So thank you to everyone who, took the time to tweet out, share that video, because it seems like maybe we've gotten some traction. I'm not saying it was like all me, like, bro, it's 100% my doing here, but pretty much everyone, it's not just me, everyone has been asking for new Sandbox updates. Bungie has commented on this and said, we're looking at new stuff. They reiterated this interesting quote. Quote, "As we wage wars in our playtest labs, we're taking a lot of things into account. Player data, your feedback, and our own gameplay experiences. We've heard the conversation about and felt for ourselves shotgun dominance. In brackets, yes, we see you, Matador 64. But we feel strongly that our goal shouldn't be to nerf them into the ground. Instead, we're looking at solutions that could bring shotguns into a better state of balance with the rest of the guns in the game. In doing this, we would still want shotguns to be effective and fun to wield, we could quickly and easily break shotguns and call it a day. But it's important to us that we explore positive changes that can make Destiny better for everyone. This quote was put by Cosmo originally kind of, I think, around a month or so, maybe a bit longer ago on the forum post. It was something that the hardcore Destiny fans picked up on, but a lot of people would have missed it. So, me reiterating that now a lot of you guys are going to know about that. It is very interesting though, because this goes exactly into what I was saying in my other video, 130 Days Without Balances. I literally said it seems like the corporate culture of Bungie is that they want to make the perfect update. If we just test a little bit more, we'll fix everything at once. But it never happens. And so the player base suffers as they test and collect data just to inevitably screw it up. Not quite screw it up, but come out with an update that does do a lot of good things, but isn't perfect, and then it falls into whatever the new meta is, and again, people get sick of whatever that new meta is going to be. So this really doesn't, I think, help their case. In fact, it makes a stronger case to, I think, a lot of you guys arguing that you want change. At this point, you don't need to come up with the perfect update, Bungie. It's been 130 days, you've had plenty of time, for goodness sakes, we just, as the Destiny community, need a change. We need some other weapons to become viable. In any event, they did go on to say we'll have more to talk about later, but stay tuned. They did make it seem like an update to the meta will be coming relatively shortly, hopefully within a few weeks here. I really hope it isn't longer. Moving on from there, we have a little bit more information on the Bungie Bounty Days. What they've been doing is taking community members like Dado, Real Crafty, Mr. Fruit, etc., and putting bounties against them. Mr. Fruit is actually coming up tomorrow. And if you kill these players in the Crucible, when you find them, you get special Bungie emblems. Now, they've actually laid out the entire schedule for what times and who is being targeted. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll of course link the Bungie Weekly Update in the description of this video down below. But they also went on to say, what about blank? Because I'm sure some of you guys want to know, what about your boy Cacus here? Is he being featured? And I'm absolutely not. Bungie doesn't even reply to my tweets, guys. They're not going to feature me. But in any event, they did say, we can't fit everyone into the schedule. So, very interestingly, today they kind of announced, well, they announced it a little bit before on their Twitter, but they officially announced today that after this schedule wraps up, like they're having a daily thing where every day, every weekday, they're having a Bungie bounty. But after that wraps up, they're going to have every week, they have a certain community member who will have a bounty against them. So the Bungie bounties is actually going to continue forever. Every week, there will be a special Bungie Bounties Day against a community member, which is kind of cool. It definitely gives a lot more players access to that very elusive Bungie emblem. So if you guys want to see any particular content creators get a Bungie bounty, let's say their name begins with a K and ends with an Akis HD or something like that, let Bungie know. Aside from that, they talked a little bit more about some bugs they were fixing, and that was pretty much about it for this week's offerings, this week's Destiny news. Deej did say, as he pretty much always says, we have some more stuff to announce as time goes on. He did seem to be very optimistic, however, about the next content offering, about, again, the spring update, saying, it's rarely our policy to issue guarantees about things that are not yet certified for download. Given the work that is being done behind scenes, however, we feel like we can start to call the shot. So again, it's very interesting that he's saying, look, based on what we're doing, this is going to be very good. We can start to talk more about it, and I'm interested to see what is coming later in 2017. Kind of sucks that we're going to have to wait quite a long time before getting new content, as I've already said, but what can you do? As long as that new content is substantial, as long as it's better than the April update, I will be a very happy Destiny fan. But what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments section down below what you think should be brought forth in Destiny's spring update. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it interesting, and if you did, please please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you actually want to be notified of new uploads, you're going to have to press the bell beside subscribe. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.
Wow, if you think Rick is cool, you should meet his girlfriend.